Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. Make sure to hit the subscribe, like, share, and restack buttons. Well, this is our emerging future, and it's only the beginning. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the era of drone warfare, an era where drones dominate the battlefield. We're already in that, but guys, we're only in the beginning moments. So let's start with this story right here. So this is from Wavy TV 10. This is a local news story, a big news story around where I live in southeastern Virginia from a couple of weeks ago. And it says, mystery drones fly over Langley for 17 days. Now, Department of Defense is looking to protect aircraft. It says security is poised to tighten up at Joint Base Langley Eustis following more than a dozen cases of mysterious drones flying overhead. In a Wall Street Journal article published Saturday, it was detailed that over 17 days in December 2023, a dozen or more of the unmanned aerial systems flew over the base where the F-22 Raptor stealth fighters, one of the main aircrafts used to help defend us here at home, are based. One official is quoted to have said it was, quote, unlike any past incursion. Around dusk, a dozen or more of the unmanned aerial systems would appear. Some shone small lights, making them look like a constellation moving in the night sky, or a science fiction movie, said now retired U.S. Air Force General Mark Kelly. Close encounters at Langley. They also were nearly impossible to track, vanishing each night despite a wealth of resources deployed to catch them. While at this point it isn't known if there is a threat, there's a threat, guys. The Air Force has put out notice requesting unmanned aerial services netting for East Ramp metal sunshades on base that the F-22s sit under on the base. It says the request goes on to say that the intention of the netting is to deter and ultimately prevent the intrusion of unmanned aerial systems near airmen and aircraft. So we're seeing this as a recurring problem, guys, with drones. So this isn't some makeshift base in the Middle East. This is here in the United States of America, right on the cusp of our military base. They're just, these drones appear. Well, they appeared from somewhere. Were they launched from inside the country? Were they launched from a submarine, an enemy submarine off the coast? They don't know. They tried to capture them and could not. And we see these makeshift defenses such as netting set up trying to catch these. This shows the nature of warfare has changed. There's been a technological shift, and it favors the offense right now. Again, they say, well, it's unknown if this was a threat. Well, clearly these were for surveillance purposes for the moment, but there could be a Pearl Harbor attack with these types of drones at some point in the future. How are we going to deter such a threat as that? What's the defense against that? That has yet to be developed. The best they can come up with is, well, we could put a net up in the air and try to catch these. And unless there be any doubt, because I've heard people say, oh, there's all sorts of defenses, you can jam things. Well, they talk about that in this Zero Hedge article about the same event. And we go down here and it says, the Wall Street Journal noted that Homeland Security Advisor Elizabeth Sherwood Randall spoke with other White House officials about deploying anti-drone guns to jam signals, yet did not because of the fear of disrupting local civilian communications networks. Another idea officials had to counter this threat was directed energy weapons, and again, they weren't deployed for fear of harming commercial jets. So guys, again, we're not talking about a base on the other side of the world. We're talking about one embedded into a civilian community. And the idea that you can use EMP weapons or directed energy weapons and just throw this stuff out there. First, you have to know where the threat is coming from. It would have to come from one direction. Are you going to just shoot those out indiscriminately and take down commercial airliners in the process, take out the electrical grid nearby for 1 million people? That's why this drone warfare is so difficult to defend against. Right now, the offense has an enormous advantage. And again, this creates a situation that's very volatile because it favors preemptive attack. And so, again, right now we still have a conventional nuclear deterrent preventing World War III. But once the means come about to overcome that and take out that capability and it favors a first strike, mutual assured destruction goes out the window. Let's check out this story right here. This is from the Telegraph. It says the U.S. Army's drone problem and how it's solving it, or at least attempting to, as we'll see in just a moment. But it says, anticipating future battlefields humming with tiny aerial drones, the U.S. Army is scrambling to develop new air defenses that it can deploy in sufficient volume to block swarms of tiny drones. The Army's main drone killer, its new M-SHORAD air defense vehicle, is still years away from large-scale deployment. We're going to talk about why that is a big problem, right? But let's talk about it right now. In Russia and in Ukraine, their forces are creating and innovating new drones, new means of using the drones, of outfitting the drones. It's changing every day on the battlefield because they have to. They don't have the luxury of, well, let's see if we've got the budget and can put it through Congress to get it passed, and then we'll let the engineers know when they get back from vacation, they'll try it out. No, you don't have years to put this out. And by the time you put it out years from now, it's going to be obsolete. So the means of procurement for the U.S. military-industrial complex is antiquated, and it's been bypassed. It's become obsolete, and that's why the U.S. cannot secure the Red Sea right now through Operation Prosperity Guardian. And it's why if the United States gets in a major conflict with one of these major powers, they're in a lot of trouble, as we'll see at the bottom of this in just a moment. So it says, so in the meantime, the Army is counting on an interim system, the Mobile, Low, Slow, Small Unmanned Aircraft System Integrated Defeat System, or MLIDS. So MLIDS is a lot easier to say. This article says it better work. For a few years, it's the best defense the world's leading army can deploy against arguably its biggest threats, tiny drones. So let's let that sink in for a moment. For a few years. So again, we just talked about how Russia's innovating, China's innovating, Iran's innovating, Ukraine's innovating, everybody's innovating. But yeah, we got MLIDS for the next few years. It'll be a while before something new comes out. That puts the United States at a decided disadvantage. The best defense that it can deploy against arguably its biggest threats. And yes, it is its biggest threat on the conventional battlefield. Again, the nuclear deterrent remains in place for the moment. But from a conventional standpoint, a large amount of the U.S. military is obsolete. I know that's hard for many people to believe, but that's just the case. It doesn't matter that that there's $1 trillion a year spent on defense annually in the United States. It's being spent on obsolete hardware and equipment that can easily be taken down by tiny drone swarms that are getting more sophisticated with each passing day, while this monolithic military procurement system in the United States becomes more and more obsolete with each passing day. So this goes on. It says down here, scale is the main problem. We've talked about this in the past. This is the key to drone warfare. It says the million-person U.S. Army needs many hundreds, if not thousands, of counter-drone systems to make any difference in a major war. It currently has, well, just a handful that it can deploy alongside a depleted force of Cold War vintage air defenses. So they need hundreds, if not thousands. Will a handful do? No, a handful will not do. The U.S. military's conventional capabilities are obsolete. And I hope that this can be recognized and fixed before it becomes recognized on the battlefield. Because that's my concern, is that this will be recognized by the general public on the battlefield when they go, what do you mean this $1 trillion military just got defeated by XYZ small power deploying drones? But that's where we're headed. And what do I usually say? Scroll to the bottom of the story and you'll get what should be the headline. Last sentence of this, it says, anyone hoping for a Western victory over foreign drone hordes should hope it works. Let that sink in for a minute. So right now, the U.S. military and its ability to overcome its adversaries is dependent on hope. Oh, we hope? You know, we hear about how dominant the U.S. military is. No one could stand up to the U.S. military. And you have all these politicians saying, we'll go in there and show them who's boss and we'll wipe them out and we'll do this, that, and the other. Yet, there are plenty of foreign drone hordes. And this article is telling us that if we don't have adequate defenses against those, which we don't, you know, maybe these MLIDs, then we should hope they work. Otherwise, overwhelmed by foreign drone hordes. Guys, the battlefield has completely changed. And there are people within the United States military that recognize this and are trying to fix this. As we read about in this story from Defense News, it says for Replicator II, Army wants AI-enabled counter-drone tech. So we've talked before about the Replicator initiative that was launched, I believe, in August of 2023, with a goal of within 18 months being able to simultaneously launch hundreds of airborne, seaborne, and land-based drones in an attack. And so they're on track for that and starting to look toward what is the next phase. And we talked about scale. Scale is the important thing here. And scale in a quick turnaround scenario. So you don't want, we can produce that at scale 5 years from now. And we need scale 5 days from now, or scale 5 hours from now, or even eventually scale 5 minutes from now. So that's why the key to all of this is advanced technology. They mention AI here, but particularly molecular manufacturing, which would enable the rapid manufacture of hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions of sophisticated drone swarms in very short order. But that's some time away. We don't know how far away, but you can read in the story, that's where they're pushing toward it. They understand this, recognize this. This is where the world is going. It says the Army is eyeing a mix of existing and new technology to potentially scale through the second iteration of the Pentagon's Replicator initiative, including systems that use artificial intelligence and machine learning to target and intercept small drone threats. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced last month that Replicator II would center on countering threats from small drones, particularly those that target critical installations and force concentration. He said in a September 29th memo, DoD plans to propose funding as part of its fiscal 2026 budget request, with a goal of fielding meaningfully improved counter-drone defense systems within 2 years. So again, I guess hopefully within 2 years. In the meantime, let's hope that the handful of defenses we have now can counter the hordes of foreign drones, or swarms, right? So guys, this is critical to national security. The United States is way behind the 8 ball on this. And most people are totally unaware of how obsolete. They can have all the sophisticated equipment, but it's ineffective in the face of foreign hordes of drones, right? So this is the nature of warfare now. The battlefield is now dominated by drones. It says, as with the first round of the program, which aims to deliver thousands of low-cost drones by next summer, Replicator II will work with the military services to identify existing and new capabilities that could be scaled to address gaps in their counter-drone portfolio. So guys, this is really the heart of the problem. You need to deliver at scale. They say thousands. That's a start. Thousands of low cost. So you want to have your investment in the artificial intelligence and the software that controls these things, but the hardware itself, you want to be able to manufacture at scale and at the lowest cost possible, and ideally as close to the battlefield as possible, because that's going to give you the advantages in this new era of warfare. So whoever can work that out, and again, whoever develops molecular manufacturing will have a huge edge, huge advantage, one that can't be overcome by conventional technology, and will achieve that outcome. And they'll be able to conquer with impunity any enemy that they face. They'll be able to conquer and overwhelm just with swarm after swarm after swarm. So this goes on. It says, but the Army also wants to use Replicator to explore emerging counter-drone technology. The service is especially interested in systems that can not only detect objects, but also use AI and machine learning to help decide how to engage them. It's kind of a 3-part problem set, he said. You have to detect it, figure out what to do, and then have an effector that can do something about it if you're allowed. That middle part of figuring out what to do and bringing the data into that, I think, is where we can do better than we have. Championed by Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks, Replicator's goal is to create a new pathway for the Pentagon to buy and scale high-need capabilities on faster timelines. So again, it's about moving away from this multi-billion-dollar, 10-year, 15-year project development window to how quickly can we innovate, develop, manufacture, deploy. Let's compress that timeline and lower the cost as much as possible. It says Replicator 1 centers on delivering thousands of low-cost drones by next summer. The department plans to spend a total of $1 billion on the effort in fiscal 2024 and 2025. So guys, again, this is where we get into the end of mutual assured destruction, because here they're saying that we're going to use AI to figure out what to do about it. So when there's a drone swarm coming at you, what do? Well, you need to have AI thinking quickly, faster than a human being can, to figure out how to counter that swarm, especially since that swarm is going to be outfitted with its own AI and is going to adapt to whatever defensive techniques are deployed against it. So as that incoming swarm comes in, if you have a certain defense that you deploy, if not in real time on the battlefield will that swarm adapt, it will certainly learn from that, and the next swarm will be prepared for whatever defense comes about. So a new defense needs to be developed to adapt against whatever the next attack is. And this is going to happen so quickly, it'll be really beyond human beings' ability to keep up with it. And so we would have this volatile situation. So once mutual assured destruction is overturned, once the threat of nuclear annihilation is removed by the development of these advanced technologies, the fast pace of adaptation that AI enables will create a volatile situation that will lead to all-out destructive war, which is why we stated in the past, whoever develops molecular manufacturing, regardless of whether their intent is for good or for evil, they will use that first mover advantage to conquer the entire globe and establish a global empire. Let's look at this other headline right here from Yahoo News. U.S. prepares for drone-on-drone battles at military bases. Again, this is our emerging future. We're only in the beginning. Very quickly, in short order, not 50 or 100 years from now, but not long from now, this is what drone warfare will look like. So this is a swarm of bees. Soon, this will be part of someone's military. And the only way to counter this is with another swarm just like it. And so they're right when they say drone-on-drone battles is what we're preparing for, because this is our emerging future. And again, whoever develops that first mover advantage, and again, I believe molecular manufacturing is the key because it solves what they're talking about. They want scale. Well, you can build out at scale because when you have molecular manufacturing, you can exponentially build out very quickly at low cost just about any physical object. You can do it in real time on the battlefield, so you could construct a swarm like this one from right here in these trees. Let's say you're in these trees, you could manufacture and deploy the swarm from there. And if somehow somebody defeated it, well, you could create another one and send another wave right behind it. Guys, this is going to be unstoppable for whatever nation or group of nations develop this capability. And it should come as no surprise that we read about in the Bible the very same thing happening in the book of Revelation in the end times during the tribulation. So we read there is a World War III. So mutual assured destruction is overcome. It becomes obsolete. Major powers of the world go to war against each other. The world does not get destroyed in nuclear annihilation. So mutual assured destruction will become obsolete. These technologies will enable that to become reality. Then we read in Revelation 6 about the rider on the red horse having a sword that nobody else has had before. We don't know what that is, but we also know that it's said about the Antichrist in the book of Revelation. Who can make war against the beast? Who can wage war against him? Who could stand up against this? You've got this on a global scale, the ability to attack your adversaries. Who can stop that? Well, no one conventionally here on Earth today, no human being, no army on earth today can stand up against this. But Jesus Christ can, and that's what the Bible tells us, that ultimately the Antichrist will fall to Jesus Christ. So guys, this is where we're headed. We're reading about it in the news every day. The world is changing. Drones now dominate warfare. They dominate the military and warfighting. And that's going to be the case from now until, I believe, when Jesus comes. But we're only in the beginning. We're only in the early innings. We're going to see much more sophisticated drones emerge. Much more sophisticated swarms emerge, decentralized swarms, to where, again, if this is a swarm of drones at your disposal, right now they have drone swarms in the battlefield that are maybe, 10 or 20 drones, and there might be one right above them that controls the others. And if you take that one out, you take out the whole swarm. But in a decentralized swarm, you can take out half of these and the other half move forward in lockstep. They don't miss a beat. Doesn't bother them. They regroup and they go after their target. They go after their goal. So guys, this is where we're headed. We've been talking about this for quite some time. We're seeing it come about in our day and time. It's just yet another indication how near we are to the tribulation period, the second coming of Jesus at the end of that 7-year tribulation. That tells us the rapture of the church is even closer. So take advantage of every day we have to share the hope you have in Jesus Christ with as many people as possible. So let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. God willing, I will see you on Friday. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to visit my Substack at brittgillette.substack.com. There you'll find my latest videos and articles, as well as notes, where I share the latest news headlines, the articles I'm reading, and the videos I'm watching. Subscribe for free, and each new post on Substack will be sent directly to your email. Just scroll to the bottom of the homepage and hit the subscribe button. As an added bonus, your first welcome email will include a link to a copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt Gillette on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.